Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. I've been talking so long about this commodities bull run. It is going to be a multi-year bull run, but not only because of a transition from fiat currency to digital currency, but literally from regular technology that we all grew up with to this new green technology. And the facts of the matter are there is more need for copper, silver, zinc, and things like that than ever before. But what's crazy is a news story I wanted to cover right now out of Kitco. Check this out. Copper shortage getting real. It says right here, AOTH, we've been writing about the coming copper supply deficit for years, while mainstream media kept quiet on this issue. And I couldn't agree more. And it's almost like it's gonna come out of nowhere all of a sudden, where the price of things explode, like what happened to rhodium in 2005 to 2007. And then again, when the pandemic hit, rhodium literally skyrocketed to multi-thousands of dollars. Literally, I think it topped somewhere over $20,000 an ounce, right? Because all of a sudden it's needed, and we need it, and we need it now. And I believe that copper is one of those, both copper and silver are going to have one of those out of the blue moments where all of a sudden the price spikes because what do you mean we're in a deficit? And companies do not care about the price, because if they can't build their car, they can't build their cell phone, they can't, run their transmission lines, they're going to pay literally at any cost, and they're going to push that cost, added cost onto the consumer. That is the craziest thing. So check this out. It says right here, we were among the first to report how a decline in productivity from existing copper mines driven by open pit to underground expansions and a decline in ore quality has been combining with a lack of new discoveries to produce a shortfall of mined copper supply at exactly the wrong time, i.e., just as the demand for the red metal is ramping up due to the global electrification and decarbonization trend. I want to stop there and explain something. The term Dr. Copper has always been synonymous with the health or the sickness, the illness of an economy. Dr. Copper, when copper prices went up, it's because construction was booming around the world. Now we're seeing crazy, literally something that we have not seen ever in the last 100 years, and that is a slowdown in world's economies, right? We're seeing a change of literally fiat to digital currencies, but at the same time, we're seeing old regimes that or groups of countries that were together mining things and sharing those resources among each other now splitting up. We literally see the West dividing from the East, the BRICS nations separating from Canada, North America, and Europe. We're seeing trade alliances that were around for literally half a century be broken right now. And at the same time, we're seeing all this new technology, all of this electrification of everything from cars to everything, literally everything, exploding, right? So countries are starting to grab onto as many resources as they can. But right now is the time to be looking at these, and that's why I'm investing in copper companies, because I think it's very important to be buying this for long term. So it's like buying Amazon, honestly, at $1 and then selling it later at $100 because you held on to it because you saw the potential. That's why I'm invested in the resource sector. Now check this out. It says right here, while experts say we could be looking at a 10 million ton deficit in as little as 2 years, in fact, the shortfall could come even sooner, thanks to a number of supply-side events that have taken place recently. Some of the world's largest mining companies and some traders are warning that by 2025, a massive shortfall will emerge for copper, which is now the world's most critical metal due to its essential role in the green economy. The deficit will be so large, the Financial Post stated last September, that it could itself hold back global growth, stoke inflation by raising manufacturing costs, and throw global climate goals off course. This is what we're talking about. I believe that you're going to see this come out of nowhere. Why? Because right now it's being told the true stories about the resource sector and what's happening of all these countries trying to grab resources, trying to mine or buy up as many mines as they can to secure that metal in the ground now while the price is low. And then all of a sudden when the mainstream media hits, it's like, the stories are going to be like, copper exploding in price, or silver exploding in price, or zinc's going up. Why is zinc going up? And you're going to be like, what? This just happened. But you look at the charts and no, it didn't just happen. It was trickling up until all of a sudden the mainstream went, well, we better start covering it. And let's talk about today's sponsor. And I want to thank them. And I actually know the CEO of this company personally. And I want to tell a little story about him, Max Porterfield of Calnex. Calnex is the sponsor of today's video. The ticker for the OTC is CLLXF, and the TSX Venture Board ticker is CNX. I've talked about, and I want to tell you a story that has to do with Max, and to say that Max is literally extremely passionate about finding copper is an understatement. If you know Max Porterfield, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm not joking. His family is super passionate about this, and I want to talk about copper, and I want to talk about a story at the very end that literally, you want to talk about a speculation play, and that's, I mean, this is what gets me excited about the mining sector in these early stages when they're not publicly talked about a lot, because there's so many dynamics that play into the valuation of a company, all right? So I'm gonna get into that in a second, but let me get some notes, because you guys know how the ninja is with, you guys remember I got my new pizza box, so here we go, so that everybody knows Ninja's notes. All right, let's talk about copper's role in renewable energy. It says copper is critical for renewable energy technologies with applications in cabling, wiring, heat exchange, and more. It says governments around the world are taking action to accelerate the energy transition. And now think about this, just some statistics to throw at you. As of 2020, there were 617 cities with 100% renewable energy targets. There were 1,852 cities with climate emergency declarations and over 10,500 cities with emission reduction targets. Now, to say that there's no fighting this is an understatement. This is going to get bigger and bigger, whether you like it or not. And the facts of the matter are, we all know that as this green movement moves and more of it hits the mainstream media, investors are going to start to flock into these stocks, where they were investing in things like Amazon, like Microsoft back then, because, oh, the tech boom. Now you have a totally different tech boom because of literally the amount of electricity that's flowing through these wires. I'm going to be honest with you. I literally saw a house the other day we were working on with aluminum aught cables going up, and the guy at Pacific Gas and Electric literally said, he goes, all this is being changed out. We're working on changing all of this aluminum cabling to copper because of the amount of power that can go through it. Totally different game running copper as opposed to aluminum. A couple other things that I want to share with you, a diagram to put up. It says industrial buyers drive more than 50% of silver demand. Silverware right now for industrial demand is taking up 7% of silver. Investment is coins and bars, only 18%. When you look at the other numbers, photography is small, 3%, right? But industrial applications, solar panels, electronics, batteries, biocides, and more equal over 51% of the silver consumption. Now think about that. As people start to figure out silver demand and start to buy up more, and that number from investment goes from 18 even higher, it's gonna put a strain on the market and cause price to increase. Now, let's talk about zinc. Zinc is an essential metal that often flies under the radar. Some uses for zinc. Zinc compounds equal 25%, but 75% go to galvanizing alloys, brass, and bronze. And it says the zinc market is worth $40 billion per year, and zinc is one of the best performing commodities of 2020. Think about that. In 2020, zinc returns over 19%. Okay, now let's get to today's sponsor, and that's Calnex Mines. The reason why I'm talking about zinc, copper, and silver is because Calnex has found all three of those. And I think it's very important. I want to share this story about this town in Canada at the end, because to say that this is a very, very interesting situation with a town that literally is hinging on its survival or death based off of what Calnex does next is an understatement. But let's dive into a couple more things. I've got another chart for you guys. Electrical vehicle demand. It says right here, if you notice, from 2017 to 2027, the expectations of copper, silver, and zinc to go up is going to be exponential because of the amount of electric vehicles. It says by 2025, there will be more than 5 million electric vehicles produced each month by Tesla, Nissan, and Volkswagen. That figure doesn't even include all the other automobile or equipment manufacturers. And guys, in a day and age where literally governments are literally giving people money to put towards their down payment or return on their taxes for buying electric vehicles, I do not see that demand going away. Regardless of the economy, if people are able to buy a car and have part of it paid for them by the government, they're gonna go do that. And so if you can think about 5 million electric cars by 2025 produced each month, that is staggering. So that means the need for electric commodities like silver and copper are going to be immense. It says right here, it's projected that electric vehicles will account for 49% of silver use in automobiles by the year 2040. Again, just pushing the reason home even more that you want to be invested in this sector. Talking about Calnex and Max Porterfield, I've told you he is absolutely, completely sold out and passionate about his projects with Calnex. Right now, family and insiders own approximately 25% of the company, and institutions hold 40% of the company. Now, what that means is this is a news-driven stock. The insiders and the institutions are not selling, and I'm gonna show you why in a second, but to give you some ideas of what's happened in the past when they came out with news. In 2020, upon announcing a discovery, the stock went from 79 cents on June 12th to $4.49 on February 5th of 2021. That's a 468% move. And then it also had a 1 week 150% move on drilling news between July 17th and July 24th of 2020. The reason why it moves so much is because when they come out with good news, investors flock into this to buy it up based on the news, on their drilling results, because there's very few sellers because of the insider position and the family position and the institutional position. Now let's talk about that. The last time they had a private placement, think about this. The private placement was at $3.11 Canadian, and they raised about $6.24 million, all right? So now $3.11. Now, as of the recording of this video right now, the price in Canadian terms, Canadian dollars, is $2.69. So you would be investing, and this is how I think, this is the investor cap part of me I put on. I go, what big names were investing in the company? And then what price were they at? Can I get a value? Because they're not going to turn around and sell. So I don't have to worry about them selling their large positions because they're not in the green. And they had serious belief in whatever company they invest in. They didn't do it just willy-nilly. They put a lot of time into due diligence. So I'm able to invest at a discount to them. And why? It's not because the company did anything, it's because the entire sector is beat down, right? Right now, investors are throwing money at things that are going down, like Amazon and Tesla, like, oh, buy more, buy more. At what point are they gonna turn around and go,
crap, all I'm doing is losing money. What sector do we move into?
are we gonna be a contrarian like Warren Buffett and finally move into something that's total opposite? And that's why I'm here ahead of time. Some bullet points I wanna go over. The insider ownership. This is founder-led company by Max Porterfield. The CEO and founder is a major shareholder and has been for years. His own money is tied to the company and his family's to the tune of 25%, held by management and associates. Now, institutional ownership equals 40%, which is held by institutions, the most critical of which is Altius Minerals, which I want to focus on for a second and explain to you why it's a big deal. So Altius Minerals is one of the best companies in the resource sector that has ever come out of Canada, and they invested $500,000 into Calnex at $3.11 Canadian. That's approximately what, 28% less today. That's the discount that you'd be getting over Altius. The absolute best deal makers in the base metals, which is copper, zinc, and silver sector, believe that Calnex is a smoking deal at the price they invested in. That's why they put the money in, and now you're able to get it at a lower price. Now, I told you of a story, and literally I've been keeping it in my back pocket. Now, this is very interesting to me. Check this out. This is about Flin Flon, a town or a city in Manitoba, Canada. Now, this town is going through a lot right now, and this is why. The closing of the 777 mine, which was a behemoth 100-year-old mine that is located right next to Calnex's mine's discovery, means the entire town is cheering for Calnex, and this is why. The entire future of this company is held in the balance because most of it, I want to say it was 90% of its residents worked for that mining company. Now check this out. 77 Mine was the only mine that feeds into the processing facilities in town. In other words, the existing mine was crucial for both Hudbay and for the mining town. The mine underwent a firm shutdown in May of 2022, and it's depleted, right? A Hudbay memo published in a local newspaper last year stated that they plan to go from nearly 800 jobs at the mine today to just 50 jobs by 2023. That's for a town with a population of over just 5,000 people, which is an absolute blow to their economy. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, and this is that whole speculation side of my brain, investor side versus speculator side. Hudbay has been producing in Flin Flon for nearly 100 years, and the land and infrastructure has never had to be reclaimed until possibly now. Hudbay's reclamation costs could be in the hundreds of millions of dollars, so they have a clear vested interest in seeing Calnex's project advancing and processing, which is aligned with the interests of the town of Flin Flon. So now think about this. Here, Hudbay is sitting here going, okay, our mine is depleted, and that means we're going to have to reclaim the land. We're going to have to put literally hundreds of millions of dollars into putting the land back to how we found it, for lack of better terms. They're sitting here going, well, now there's another mine right here. There's another exploration company right here that's drilling. This is the speculation side of me. If they start hitting these big numbers, they're going to all of a sudden go, is this a takeout play? It could be. Does Hudbay want to go, ooh, do we want to join forces with them? Because then if we could keep the gears moving, keep all of our already put in infrastructure in this town to work, we don't have to put all that money into reclamation. That's that speculation side, right? But like I said before, this is a news-driven company, right? The volume stays really low, all of a sudden great news comes out, and they're currently drilling and about to put out more news. Now, do I know what those news are? No. Do I know what the drilling results are? And no, I do not know that. But this is something I want to show you, and as a resource investor, this is something you want to pay attention to. They are right next to a massive mine that was running for 100 years that is now shut down. They are the only ones out here in this region, and a whole town is literally vying, needing them to nail this thing. Like I said, I know Max personally, and he is so passionate about this project and the multiple properties that are under Calnex's management, and I am really excited to see it. So hey, guys, I want to thank Calnex for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much, Max. I really appreciate it. And again, guys, look at this resource sector as something that has not hit the mainstream media. These are positions that I hold. When I hold a stock right now, it's not for tomorrow's gain. Yeah, maybe some days it goes up 50%, 100%, sweet. I sell off a little bit and I wait for it to come back down. But these are stocks that you are going to start seeing in the news in the next 2 to 5 years. So would you rather buy them at today's valuation or tomorrow's larger valuation? That's literally the question. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.